Welcome to RSA Conference. We are here recording live from Broadcast Alley in Moscone West. This interview is sponsored by Saviynt. I'm your host, Akira Brand, and joining me is Jeff Margolies, Chief Product and Strategy Officer from Saviynt. Welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here today. We're going to talk about AI. We're going to talk about Saviynt and how AI integrates with y'all's products. But first, I want to get to know a little bit about you. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as you said, I lead up product and strategy, which basically means I'm responsible for what are we doing, where are we going, why are we doing that. I have a large team of product managers who do all the hard work, and I get to talk about it.
Okay, so tell us about Saviynt.
Saviynt is focused on identity security. We're an integrated converged platform that covers a lot of different areas of identity security.
Okay, fabulous. And what in Saviyn't world right now are you really trying to solve? What problem are you addressing?
Yeah, that's a great question. For us, kind of starts with a definition, which is that everyone and everything has an identity, right? And in today's world, all those identities, whether it's employees or your extended workforce or your business partners, they all have an identity. And all the machines, they have identity. We're going to talk about AI, they need access to things. And so, that's on one side. And then on the other side is everything they need access to. That all this digital stuff, all of this physical stuff they need access to. And so really the identity security problem is how do you figure out all of these identities and all these resources, who gets access to what, at the right level of granularity so you can enable them to do what they need to do, but protect all of those resources against whatever all those threats are.
Right.
And that's the problem that we're trying to solve. Efficiently, at scale, for really large enterprises and enterprises. We're not so much focused on small business, but medium, particularly regulated industries and large enterprises.
Fabulous. All right, and so I want to talk to you a little bit about AI.
Yeah, for sure.
So, such a hot buzzword right now. AI is so hot right now. I would love to hear how your company is taking on AI and how are they leveraging it right now?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of areas that we're focused on for AI. So first, I think fundamentally to get past the buzz, what we're leveraging AI for is to help humans be more productive, be more efficient. One of the challenges, I talked about that scale problem, right, where you have hundreds of thousands of people and millions of things all trying to access millions and millions of resources. And traditionally, that's been a very human-intensive problem. You maybe define some roles, and you say, hey, if you have this job function, then you get these things. Or maybe you define a process like, I request something and somebody approves it. When you do that at scale, how do you give the people the decision-making assistance to be able to understand what am I approving? At scale right now, it's often just a rubber stamp. It's like, can I have this? Sure.
Yeah.
Why do I say sure? Because I have no idea what you're asking for.
Whatever you want.
I get this all the time as a manager, right? Can I have sure? Why not? I trust you, so you can have it.
Right.
But if AI, if machine learning can give us some information about that, some so what? So what if I approve this? What's the risk of approving this? What else does that person have access to that maybe combined together would be, allow some additional risk.
Yes.
Like writing myself a check, right? Those sorts of things. Like, well, if I have this and this, maybe I can do that, or maybe I can ship myself some product, or maybe I can, do something else that's bad. And so, having machine learning and AI that can really give you more context, right? And do that at scale and help understand, well, like recommendations engines when you're buying things at Amazon, right? It's like, hey, people like you like to
They
buy
like
this
this.
product too, right?
Yes.
And so similar sorts of things that you can do in the enterprise, like people like you have access to these other things, so it's probably not that high a risk. But nobody like you has access to this other thing,
Right.
maybe I ought to take a second look, right? So that's one area that we're focused on in AI that is relatively straightforward, tried and true sort of machine learning things. There are a lot of other things that we're doing with AI too, because this in the last 18 months since ChatGPT came out, since LLMs exploded onto the scene, so to speak, a lot of AI means large language models, means chatbots, means something that you can interact with
Right.
conversationally.
Right.
And that is a tremendously important thing as you interact with systems like ours that maybe their typical end user sees once a quarter, a couple times a year. You want to come to an app and just know how to use it.
Right.
And so having that chat interface makes it easier.
Yes.
Have more of an English language or whatever your native language is conversation with a chatbot, to say, well, should I approve that access? Or, hey, I'm trying to do this marketing thing. Can I get access to that marketing thing? And for it to understand what that marketing thing means, as opposed to come up with some like machine name, I need access to AC3289.
Totally.
And
127.0.0.1.
Yeah, exactly, right? So
exactly.
just making the user experience easier, helping make decisions easier, helping to scale to solve the problem. That's really how we're thinking about using AI and the sort of things that we're launching this week here at RSA.
So I'm thinking that what you're describing probably saves your customers a lot of time.
Yes.
Not only does it save them time, it probably saves them money, right? Because you're not having the head count of staff having to go in and manually approve these. You're not having incidents that are based on like maybe an incorrect approval. But how else do your customers benefit from this?
That's right. Productivity is huge,
Yeah.
right? Just enabling people with what they need to do their job, right? Just empowering them to work in this digital economy. That's extremely important. Saving costs,
Right.
In this macro environment, it's always important to save costs. I mentioned that we were a converged platform, and a lot of our customers have hundreds of security tools. You walk the floor here at RSA, there are thousands of security vendors, and a lot of CISOs, they want a platform. They want fewer platforms, and so you can save money. You can save money from having converged platform. You can also save, by having a converged user experience. There's one place they need to go. They only have to learn how to use one system, and it's easier to use. You only have to integrate that platform into your digital environment once. You don't have to do it for every single tool, right? So there's a lot of places that you can save costs. And with AI, that integration problem in the identity space, that has been the bane of identity for the 25 years I've been in identity, right? You spend so much time, maybe it's, historically it was months to integrate with an application. And, now maybe, it's hours to do it. But with AI, it's seconds. Your AI can read an API. It can generate code. It can automatically do that connection in a way that it was humans doing that before. And when I was a young employee, I was doing firewall implementations, lifting tiles up, plugging cables in. Nobody does that anymore.
No.
The cloud providers do that, and in a few years from now, nobody's going to code connectors anymore. AI is going to be doing that, and we can focus on the real problem, right?
So what's the real problem in your opinion?
I think the real problem is, an identity security operational problem. Like how do we get the right people the right access at the right time?
Yeah.
And not have it there the rest of the time.
Right.
And how do we make sure that all the people who left yesterday don't have access today? And how do we make sure that all the people who left my vendor yesterday that had access into our supply chain doesn't have access anymore? All of those operational things are what companies need to focus on, rather than the project, the never-ending identity project.
It is never-ending, isn't it?
We hope to get past that.
I think you're going to do a great job. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a spicy question.
Spicy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so AI, super hot. Identity and access management, big deal. Is this just marketing, or is there something here?
No, this is real stuff, right?
Yeah.
I mean, machine learning's been around forever, right?
Yes.
But the new capabilities, particularly that the cloud providers are rolling out, more compute, more ability to really crunch on large data sets. We have over 500 customers. We have over 50 million identities that we're managing in our cloud. That gives us a data set to crunch on that when this was an on-prem software world, just didn't have that data. The software companies didn't have that data. The enterprise had that data, right? And so now we have a place to train the AI. LLMs that read API specs and generate code, that's a thing. That's it's a real thing, right?
It's incredible.
It's not just a, imagined idea that, that'll never happen, right? It's happening today.
That is fantastic. And let's move into the future a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's happening today. Where do you see this going over the next 18 months?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. One, I said we have a lot of data. There's a lot more data. Our typical identity management system today might be managing hundreds of applications, but our customers have thousands of applications. And by bringing down the integration costs, we can extend how many applications are under management, how many systems, how much infrastructure, all of those things. So being able to expand out that data set and get a lot more data to train the AI, what are the effective, what are the policies that are in there? Like what defines who gets access to what? And really start to get much better at that. And it has to get more sophisticated. And so that's one thing out of the next 18 months. It's really just expanding the breadth of coverage in your typical enterprise of systems that we're managing, right? I think the other thing that's really coming is expanding the breadth of identities that we're looking at, and so clearly workforce, that's being done. Lots of third parties are being done, but not all. And I think it's really important, most security attacks of late have vectored in some way through a third party.
Right.
And it is so important, and there's so much more risk in the third parties. And you have to trust them, right? But verify, that they still work there, that they really need that access, that all those things are still in place, so that's important. And then machine identity, we're just starting to get a handle on all of the machines, all the apps that need to talk to other apps or APIs, and microservices talking to this, and OT devices and IoT, and all of that sort of stuff, right, is really just starting to be managed in the similar system on the same platform. So you can really see the breadth of your risk, and then prioritize what do you want to focus on.
Okay, so Jeff, we are almost wrapping up today. Do you have any last thoughts for our listeners? Last thoughts.
I think just from a sales and marketing perspective, right?
Sure.
Certainly, we're very excited at what we're doing at Saviynt, obviously. We think that, the fact that we've been cloud native from the beginning gives us an advantage, because we have access to the data, we have the access to really be able to crunch on all of that data and train AI.
Right.
The Converge platform just works, it makes sense. The driving towards, nobody wants more and more tools, right? They just want solutions for the problem.
They just want to fix the problem.
And it's got to be comprehensive.
Yeah.
right? The idea of light just doesn't work. You know, our enterprises are not light.
Right.
You know, our enterprises they're complex.
Yeah.
You know, they're operating in lots of different countries. They're operating in different businesses. They have different regulatory regimes. They're just, you know, they need the comprehensive capabilities to really be able to manage this problem at scale and deal with the complexity they have. And so, you know, we think cloud, converged and comprehensive, that's our sweet spot, and customers that are looking for that, Saviynt's the right answer.
Beautiful. All right, well, thank you so much for your time. We have been speaking with Jeff Margolies of Saviynt, and thank you to our listeners for joining Security Weekly. Visit securityweekly.com/Saviynt RSAC to find out more, and then check out all of our RSAC coverage at securityweekly.com/RSAC. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Thank you.